he's learning sign language? That was not the right sign, apparently. The Bermuda Triangle of Death. Oh god, no. Damn. Act 2. Learning to read. That's what I'm so afraid of. That's what I'm scared of. That in this Shizune route, it's just gonna be a kind of not a conflict, but like, you know, a choice between Misha or Shizune. And it sucks to think that you're breaking sort of their friendship up, or that it could possibly happen. We don't know, you know, maybe the other person actually takes it well if you don't choose them, but still, it's kind of a sucky situation in that sense, right? Because those two girls are obviously so close with each other, kind of partly forced to be close with each other, and to think that you as Hisao can kind of, you know, get in between that and could possibly ruin it in some sense, possibly, right? I'm not saying that it's gonna happen for sure, but I feel like that's a possibility that seems kind of likely to happen, but we'll just have to find out. So it's Act 2 right now. The next morning, I recall what a perfect night last night was. So much so that I can't stop thinking about it. It's probably not the most appropriate time to reminisce, but since I have a test first period... it's so unfair. How can they do this? They hold a festival that is the culmination of what has to be at least a few weeks worth of work on a Sunday, and then follow up with exams starting the very next morning? It's got to be some kind of sick joke. I'm not too worried about it, but I wonder if they really couldn't have held off this for at least another week. Well, at least the weather this morning is nice enough that I can study outside before class. It's a lot more refreshing out here than it would be in the classroom, not to mention with how quiet it is. I'm starting to think that everyone else will be sleeping in pretty late today. I put down the notes I'm reviewing for a second and stare out at the school grounds, still littered with festival stalls. Looking at them now in the daytime, without proper lanterns or crowds of people to draw my attention away from them, I notice something peculiar. A lot of stalls that Shizune, Misha, and I visited last night also happens to be the one that we worked on. Coincidence? I think not. That's cute. Did Shizune come up with this? It had to be intentional, especially knowing her. Did she hope that I would catch on and see the fruit of our labors? I hear footsteps crunching the grass behind me and turn around. I feel slightly paranoid, but all I find is Shizune standing there with an innocuous look on her face. Hello, Shizune. Good morning. Why do I keep forgetting that she can't hear me? At least this is an easy thing to wave, you know, or to sign. We just wave our hand. It's probably because I've gotten so used to Misha translating for both of us that I haven't actually run into many situations where I was forced to acknowledge Shizune's deafness and the problem that could stem from it. I think yesterday was the first. I gave her a wave anyway. I can do at least this much, but I'm not even going to pretend for a minute that I could hold up a conversation with her, considering my ignorance on sign language. Would it be rude to just go back to my notes? I don't really know what else I could do. Where's Misha? How do you sign that? Do you just like, you know, like torpedo signs with your hand? Not because I can't understand you, but you two are always together anyway, so I'm not used to seeing you apart. I know it's silly, but for some reason talking to her makes me feel less awkward. Surprisingly, she doesn't get mad at all. She starts signing, but it's different than usual. Shizune's hands move more slowly, and the gestures are simpler. She's like, trying to simplify it in a way that hopefully it'll make us at least partly understand it. I quickly realized that this isn't sign language at all, but she's still attempting to communicate with me. Oh, whatever she's actually, trying to like we're creating our own sort of language to understand each other, because that's sort of the thing that you kind of have to do in a situation like this if you're not learning the specific language that either one of you know, right? For Shizune, obviously it's impossible to know the language, well, because ours is a spoken language, so we're either forced to learn sign language or kind of come up with a system of our own to be able to understand each other when Misha is not around. So, is this the sign language equivalent of breaking it down into layman's terms? I'm terrified that if I attempt to gesticulate back, I just look like a total dumbass. The look on Shizune's face tells me that she is starting to think that trying to have any kind of back and forth like this is not exactly the best way to accomplish things. There has to be a better way. Just writing on a piece of paper, I imagine. I mean, they did it in that kind of, that short video, the clip. Writing on a pad? Well, I do have a paper and a pencil. What else though? Cell phones? I don't really have much use for mine here, so I barely carry it around. And I don't know if Shizune even has one. She takes the initiative, holding up a finger to ask for a pause before pulling out a pad and pen from her bag and writing a single word on it. It's the word dumbass. Oh, hello. I stare blankly at her and receive a similar but somehow more intimidating stare in response. She nudges the pad in my direction forcefully, clearly wanting me to reply. Good morning. Shizune beams with a disproportionate amount of happiness. She starts twirling her pen triumphantly as she thinks about where to go from here, because I feel like this has got to be kind of a special thing for her, because she is communicating with someone else that's not Misha on her own, Before, if she always communicates with someone and Misha is there, she's not communicating with them alone, one-on-one, right? It's always via Misha, but now she's just sort of, we're figuring things out on our own to find a way to communicate. Even though it may not be the best, it's the best with this, given the current situation. Oh, come on. It's not like we just invented fire. Shizune pushes up her glasses curtly, as if she heard me, and then starts writing at a furious pace. Use the notepad! Right. I think, oh my god, you didn't have to type it. Okay, how many times? 6, 12, 18, 21 times, okay? Once or twice is enough to get the point across. I'm confused. Am I supposed to take it from her and write okay now? That's true. Like, do you only, like, sometimes, during a conversation you can only answer with short little words like okay, yeah, sure. Do you write those things down as well? This is the furthest thing I could imagine from a smooth, flowing conversation. It makes me envy the ease with which Misha is able to communicate with Shizune. Are you studying for the tests? I'm pretty sure I can get away with answering simple yes or no questions like this with nods. You are here very early. Most people sleep in late after the festival. That means you're abnormal. Wow, thanks. Is that so? You're here too? Before handing that response back to her though, I remember what I'd noticed earlier and add, yesterday was fun. I noticed today that I built a lot of the stalls we went to. Maybe that's why they were so familiar. Was this another game? She shakes her head from side to side, indignantly. No tricks. it's kind of hard to figure out. You need to write like, you know, the piece of... I really would have thought it would be awesome if they somehow, you know, made a distinction between who wrote what, either by just changing the color of it or just slightly change the font, for example. Because here you actually have to read through it first to kind of realize, oh yeah, this probably seems like Shizune wrote this. I thought that because you had made those stalls, they were the most important ones. We had to visit them, because everyone should be able to appreciate the fruits of their labors. I wanted you to be able to see and enjoy what you had done. I'm sort of touched. That was Shizune for sure. Still, I have to wonder why she would go so out of her way, and I ask as much in my response. Because you were depressed. Wow, she picked up on that. I want to say that I was depressed for days, but stop. It's true, I was moping quite a bit, and not being too subtle about it half the time either, so it's possible that she knew. Was everything she did just to cheer me up then? Thanks. I mumble it before I can catch myself, but Shizune doesn't seem to care. I write it down instead, and she nods once, as if unused to it. The silence between us grows more fast with each passing second, and there's nothing I can do to break it. Having to write everything down on paper kind of destroys any hope of trying to be casual. Good luck on the exam. Shizune pushes the pad right in front of my eyes, breaking my concentration, taking the initiative again, as always. And as she walks into the school building, I can't help feeling a little sad. That felt like the longest 20 minutes of my life, and not because it's so alien to me to have a face-to-face conversation with someone by passing notes to each other that I can't help coming up blank most of the time. I mean, it's a new form of communication in a way, right? Even though you write a lot on paper, being solely dependent on that to communicate with a person, I can feel that's definitely something you just gotta get used to. But it's just a weird thing, right? Because normally you're so used to just talking with someone, and then you have to suddenly switch over to a different form of communication. It makes me want to learn sign language. Oh, he definitely will. He has to. That's just gonna make everything so much easier. That's easier said than done. Although, in a school like Yamaku, they might very well have sign language classes. In that case, there would be little reason not to pursue this. The only person who I can think to ask, at the moment, is Misha. How badly do I want to know this? There's two options. Wait until after class, or go look for her now. I guess I'll go now, but I'm not certain where she is. My best bet would be to start searching for her in the girls' dorm, though. After all, if she wasn't with Shizune, that's probably the only place where she would be. Yeah, probably like Shizune woke up earlier, and Misha is still, you know, sleeping the day away. A guy casually prowling around the girls' dorm early in the morning is unacceptable, but asking Misha about sign language classes in front of Shizune would be just unthinkable. She has to come to school sometime. After all, we're in the same class, so she too has to take this test. If I wait here, I'll be sure to see her sooner or later. I just hope she doesn't walk past me while I'm flipping through my notes. It turns out to be a pretty long wait, as students file into the school. I wonder if Misha is going to be late. Eventually, I catch sight of her while she bounces across the grounds. It hits me that I'd have to be blind to miss her with her incredibly distinctive hair. Hi, Hee-chan! Good morning! Morning. I don't have a lot of time left before class starts, so I cut directly to the chase. Hey, can I ask you a question? A question? Okay, Hee-chan. Sure. I have time, but only because I'm late. What does that mean?
I should have woken up earlier, but I was so tired. If I had, I would have to study. But since I didn't, it won't hurt. What is it, Hee-chan?
Well, there are sign language classes here, right?
Yep, they're electives. Why do you want to know, Hee-chan?
For some reason, that question briefly makes me panic. No reason. It sounds interesting, but I guess it's too late to sign up now, right? I'm not exactly being too subtle here, but Misha never seems to pick up on things like that anyway, so I'm probably being more cautious than is necessary.
Well, Hee-chan, I've heard there are fewer and fewer students taking sign language classes every year. So, if you want to, I'm sure they will let you in. Are you thinking of learning sign language, Hee-chan?
Yeah.
If you learn sign language, Hee-chan, that will make Hee-chan really happy. If you want, we can go to the teacher's office after school. They'll probably let you in.
That would be great. Don't tell Shizune that I want to learn it though.
Why not?
So it can be a surprise. Besides, it'll look bad if you tell her this morning, and then I find out in the afternoon that I can't take the classes.
You're right, Hee-chan. Still, this will be hard. It's such good news.
I'm in the student council, so I might as well try learning it. Even if it's just the basics, it'd be a step up from nothing. Besides, Shizune and I can't keep relaying everything through you as if you were a phone or something, right? Or does she not mind?
You're right, Hee-chan.
She's like, oh yes, someone else finally learned sign language that is not me and actually, you know, gets along with Shizune. Then Misha's like, I have more time for myself now. Because then, during certain times, I'm pretty sure, you know, Hisao can just sort of take over Misha's job. The bell rings to signal the start of the first period, cutting our conversation short. I guess I'll just ask a teacher after classes are through. Her reaction was a little strange, but I forget about it as the day goes on. I wonder how difficult it is to learn sign language. It's probably pretty difficult, just as any other language. The bell rings, and the teacher at the front of the room gestures that classes are over for the day. Although getting into this class was surprisingly easy, it's only been a few days, and I'm still not used to the experience. The actual signing is easier to pick up than I expected, but most of my classmates are hard of hearing. On top of that, the teacher favors immersion. I haven't heard her speak since I asked if I could take this class. It's an alien concept, and really unnerving. Oh god, she's one of those teachers that's like totally gets into it. Imagine a teacher that, you know, that is teaching you history, and he only shows up like, today we're learning about World War II, and then he only shows up in you know, it's like those people pretending. Is it actually pretending? They're not pretending to be Amish though, right? It's not a pretend thing. They actually favor that and actually only, you know, but it's something similar to that, only holding true to that concept of like, yeah, you can only use things from that period, from that time period, so anything older than that, nope, not allowed, taboo. The moment I step out of the classroom, I hear a familiar laugh explode through the air, a short distance to my left. It's gotta be Misha.
I see, Hee-chan.
Misha is not in my sign language class, so this is the first time I've seen her in this context. I still don't know whether her not being in my class is good or bad. It would be interesting with her in it, but the potential for awkward situation would increase drastically. Hi.
It's a surprise to see you here, Hee-chan. Ah, that's right. You're taking sign language, are you? Right.
Did she forget?
What do you think of it so far, Hee-chan?
It's not easy to learn a new language, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. Despite how different it is from other languages, it's still easier than English. No. English was so easy to learn. Well, not really, but...
Ha 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 ha! Really, Hee-chan?
I guess for Japanese people, it's gotta be pretty tough to learn English.
I agree.
I was just joking, but she's apparently totally serious. I wonder how Misha can effortlessly translate things to me while simultaneously having a conversation with Shizune in a different language like she does. That's true. Like, she has to, switch between spoken language and sign language every single... And she's gotta do, multiple things at the same time as well, Probably, while we're actually talking through words, she has to, sign things at the same time. So you're technically doing two things at the same time. So you're both keeping track of keeping track and listening to what Hisao says from Misha's perspective, and signing everything to Shizune, which sounds really, really difficult, so damn. Until now, I've taken for granted how amazing it is. Someone bumps into my shoulder and apologizes. It's getting kinda crowded here, with what it being the end of the day and all. I think we should talk somewhere else instead of the hallway. Let's go to the roof or something.
Okay.
I decide to continue talking on the way. It's surprisingly quiet enough to carry on a conversation while doing so. It's still taking me some time to get used to having to look at the teacher constantly. I guess I took all those years of simply listening to the lectures while I doodled for granted. It makes taking notes a lot more difficult too. The introductory class is small, and I'm already behind. I guess I have a lot of stuff to do. Yeah, this is much better. I turn around to look back at Misha and see her staring at me with her hands on her hips and her cheeks puffed outwards.
Hee-chan, you're behind? That's not good at all.
I started the class a week later than everyone else. It's not that bad.
Okay, Hee-chan, let's review what you've learned then. I'll tutor you, okay?
Ooh, special outside tutor lessons from Misha. This is the first time I've heard "I'll tutor you" used outside of dirty movies. Oh god, you've watched those, Hisao? I'm not nearly as turned on as I'd expected. I don't know if I need a tutor yet.
Oh.
She looks more disappointed than usual. It makes me feel awkward to see her making that kind of face.
I want to be a sign language teacher, Hee-chan, but it would be great if I could try tutoring someone in it first. Even if it's just for a little while, the experience would be valuable.
I really think he should do it, because we're both getting something out of it, right? She's sort of experimenting, learning to teach someone sign language, and we're willing to learn sign language, so why not? It's a win-win situation. Ah well, yeah, that's true. I didn't know you want to be a sign language teacher. It's hard to believe she's intentionally trying to make me feel guilty, because she's very good at it. Still, it makes sense. She's very good at sign language already from what I've seen, and certainly has the voice for dealing with the hearing impaired. I never saw her as the teaching type though.
Ha 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 ha! It's the reason why I wanted to go to this school, Hee-chan. It's also really expensive to attend here, because I want to be a sign language teacher. I have reduced tuition fees.
Oh.
If it wasn't for that, I don't know if I'd be able to keep going here.
I see. It's not that I think you would be bad at tutoring. It's just that I don't know if I need it just yet.
You're right, Hee-chan. You're smart.
Well, no. That makes me sound arrogant. Alright, please tutor me.
Really? Okay. Yay! Thanks, Hee-chan. I'll do my best. Let's start right now.
Too soon.
I miss Hee-chan.
Didn't you just see her this morning?
But It's hard to talk to her in class, Hee-chan. There's no student council today either.
Well, there have been exams all week. It'd be kind of mad if there were still student council. I'll be glad when they are over.
When it's back, you're not going to skip out, right, Hee-chan?
Of course. I'm in it after all. I'm in it to win it, baby. Don't worry, I'm not just going to suddenly stop showing up. A promise is a promise. Misha pauses for a second, not looking very convinced.
She-chan takes the student council very seriously, Hee-chan. Now that you've joined, she works harder than before since she wants to make a good impression. Some other people joined at first, but they stopped coming soon after. She-chan tried to get more people interested in the student council, but wasn't very successful. Even when someone would join, they'd stop coming eventually. They'd make excuses and just put it off more and more until they stopped coming altogether. However, I believe that you really mean it, Hee-chan.
My eyes stay focused on her hands, tilting and moving almost of her own free will, softly signing everything she is saying to herself as she speaks.
When you said you would join, she was really happy. She-chan thinks you're interesting, Hee-chan. An uninteresting person won't have to drive needed to join. Even if they do, a person that isn't interesting will quit soon after. That's what She-chan said. So, it's my duty to make sure you keep going.
Is that why you want to tutor me? You're kinda sneaky.
Really, Hee-chan? This is the first time anyone has said that about me.
There's no chance that I would avoid student council work now. Thinking back over the past few days, I've started to realize that the only reason I joined in the first place was because of Shizune. Her competitiveness and the force of will are alluring. I can't tell Misha that though.
Okay, Hee-chan. Let's review what you learned in class today.
You don't even know what I learned in class today.
You're right, Hee-chan. Okay, let's start with the basics then. I'll just teach you everything from the beginning.
You're kidding, right?
Huh?
You're serious? That's like days of lessons, and we're not even learning on the same level.
It's like riding a bike, Hee-chan. You never forget the basics. I don't know how to ride a bike though.
I do, it's very easy. Oh no.
Right. I want to be a teacher one day. So, of course I know what I'm doing. Okay. We're starting.
She doesn't seem to be very good at this. She looks like she's trying very hard, so this could be bad. Well, learning a language is vastly different from teaching it, and the first step is usually the hardest part. Honestly, I couldn't do any better. That's true, I wouldn't even know where to begin either. I guess you just start saying hello in sign language, right? Or any language, and just move from there. Trying to have a basic conversation, just a normal everyday conversation when you meet a new person, for example. Still.
Sign language was formally introduced in the 18th century by a Frenchman named, whose name I can't pronounce. And he started the first public school for the deaf in 1755. But the unwritten history of sign language is said to...
Is she really giving us the history behind it?
I don't really know where to start. Sorry. Well, what better place to start than the history of sign language, right? Right. No, wait, maybe the alphabet. Okay, the alphabet it is then.
You can see how excited she is about teaching though, but she just, it's kind of a thing that she just mentioned on the spot as well. It's not like she had time to prepare for teaching us, you know? So, it takes, you know, it's a bumpy ride at the beginning, but I'm sure she'll get used to it.
Okay, Hee-chan, this is pretty basic stuff. Although some people think that this is all of signing and forget there are some kinds of specific gestures and words. Although you can't really get anywhere else without the basics, this is A. Do you see it? Now you try.
I already know this, though. I humor her anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Now, this is B, and this is C.
I actually want to see the, you know, like the actual gesture of the hand so I can do it along with them. Because you guys generally don't see that. Like, for some series I have the webcam on, but it's only during, like, I show it during specific moments and I don't have it show it the entire time. But usually I do like a lot of the acting out what the character does with my hands and everything as well. But you guys don't see that. I don't show that for a very specific reason because I look like an idiot. But yeah, I tend to do that. So even if I were to see that on the screen right now, I would probably like sign along with them. Misha makes one symbol with each hand without specifying which is which.
And now, in D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, Y, X, Y, Z.
Yeah, this is bad. Wow, she started off so slow and like blah, 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 done. Do you think Shizune wants to do some student council work today anyway? We could go.
Of course not, Hee-chan. Come on, I'll do it again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, your turn.
So there's really no student council work that needs doing, or anything like that.
What are you talking about, Hee-chan? Come on, sign.
Yeah, what the hell is Hisao doing? Like this?
No, like this.
Like...
this.
Huh.
I wish Hee-chan was here. This would be much easier with her. That's how sign language is taught most of the time anyway, with 2 instructors. Did you know that, Hee-chan?
No. I let my brain run through this would be like if Shizune were here.
Hee-chan, are you paying attention?
Yeah.
Hee-chan says that sign language is different from any other because you have to think about everything before you say it. That means every word has more weight, Hee-chan. Every single one is more important than normal. So pay attention, please.
She continues her basic rundown of the basics of sign language. Eventually, she starts talking about stuff I start to recognize. In the end, I'm impressed. It took a bit of stumbling to get there, but as a teacher, she's pretty good when she's serious. After a while, I start to notice that it's getting late, so I thank Misha, bid her goodbye, and go back to my dorm. I learned a lot today.